Welcome and thank you for joining us. My guest today is Shane Canfield, the CEO of WEPA. Shane, thank you for being here today.
It's great to see you. Thank you.
Of course. So open season is just starting, and of course this is the time of year that federal employees and retirees are thinking about. Top of mind is health insurance, vision and dental insurance. There's a lot of things going on during open season, but that also opens the conversation to the entire insurance landscape. So, that can prompt feds to think about other things as well. So I know this is a very busy time of year for WEPA when it comes to life insurance. Can you tell me a little bit more about why life insurance matters when feds are selecting these options or thinking about their benefits during open season?
It's a great question. The fourth quarter of every year is our busiest quarter. People can apply year-round, but still we see a real uptick in the fourth quarter. And that is because people are, as you mentioned, buying health insurance, dental insurance, because there's an every year open season for the FEHB products. And what we think, and we know through surveys and anecdotally talking to people, is that's a time when people open up their entire financial plan, all of their thinking. And hopefully people have a plan, they have a budget. This is a good annual time to go and look at that. See how you're doing. Are you tracking to budget? Are your expenses what you expect them to be? You're opening the door to health insurance where you're thinking about deductibles and copays and networks. That's a huge financial decision, but why not look at your entire financial plan? And life insurance is always a part of that. So that's what we think is happening. And it does happen every year.
And during this time of year, why should federal employees consider life insurance as an option during open season, or I guess year-round? Is it right for everyone or just some people? What's the goal with life insurance?
There's no one right answer, but I will tell you that a couple of things come to mind. One is that life insurance is not a static need, and it shouldn't be a static number throughout the arc of someone's life. I'm an empty nester. My life insurance needs are very different as my bills are paid down and my mortgage is paid off. I don't have the same needs for life insurance than I did when I had a couple of kids at home and a big mortgage. So that's one, that's probably the biggest thing that people should consider. The other piece of that is what should you be insuring? And there's two big buckets. One is debt, a mortgage, credit cards, all of those things that you don't want your loved one to have to deal with if you're not there. The second piece is one that people don't always think about, and that is lost income over the rest of your working life. So if you're 40, you could be easily, retirement age is now 67. Think of all those years that income won't be coming into the household. So you take those two big numbers together, and that's probably how much people should get.
Right. No, that makes sense. And, let's just touch base here as well. WEPA has been around for a very long time, but for those who may not be familiar, how does your organization operate? Is it similar to other life insurance providers like Fegli, or is it a little different?
It's more similar to Fegli than it is something like Allstate or State Farm. We're a group plan, which is unique for federal employees, meaning only federal employees are in it, and we all pool together, and that keeps rates down, and it makes the plan very stable and predictable. That, in turn, allows us to do something we've done for 27 of the last 28 years, and that is if we have a good year, and we frequently do because federal employees are good risks, as a nonprofit, we return a piece of the premium to those people in the plan. Nobody in the commercial space would ever do that. And it's one of the differentiators. And the final point is, I mentioned we're a nonprofit. That really does make a difference because nonprofits generally, and we fall into this category, we're mission driven and not profit driven. So it's a unique program.
I see. And you mentioned that the pool is somewhat, or the insurance rates are somewhat stable and predictable with the pool of federal employees that you have in the program. That makes me think about comparing it to FEHB or other programs where you see pretty sizable insurance premium increases each year. So I'm curious, for life insurance and at WAEPA, how do you determine the insurance rates? Is it by inflation, or is there some other measure that determines how much life insurance is going to cost each year?
That's a really interesting question. The answer is the rates are almost entirely driven by claims in the future, and people are living longer. And that's why you see our rates have never gone up in 80 years. They've only come down, and that's primarily because people are living longer. And that's the whole insurance industry as together, but ours certainly reflects that. COVID even, we did have accelerated claims during COVID, but we were already set up, properly reserved, so it had no impact on our financials or our rates. We were ready for that. So it's, yes, expenses have a part of determining rates, but it's really about longevity.
Right. And, during open season, as you said, this is your busy season, just like health insurance, just like dental and vision insurance. So if you're a federal employee who's thinking about all of these different things, when it comes to WAEPA, how do you help feds make cost-effective choices, or the choice that's going to be right for them?
Our rates are lower than FEGLI's, and there's nothing wrong with FEGLI. It's a great program. I think people look at WAEPA as sometimes a full replacement, meaning they don't use FEGLI anymore at all, and they just use WAEPA. And we have limits up to 1.5 million, so most of us can do that. But I would say more people use it as a supplement to FEGLI. Our rates are structured the same way in that the rates step up every 5 years. You can go to our website, you can plug in your age and the amount you want to buy, and our rates are public, FEGLI's rates are public. You can see it right there. And so it shows you exactly what the difference is. And it varies a little bit from one age group to another, but we are less expensive. And people can take it if they leave federal service. We have a couple of riders that FEGLI doesn't have. We have a chronic illness rider, which pays in advance on the death benefit if somebody can't perform 2 of 5 different activities of daily living. And I'm saying that because that's the way that disability is set up and long-term care is set up. Mm-hmm. It's not long-term care insurance, but it serves that purpose. Another rider that we just introduced last week, in fact, was what we call automatic benefit increase. And so over a 10-year period of time, if you sign up for it, and there's no cost to sign up for it, the death benefit will increase in increments of $25,000 every year automatically with no underwriting. And what that serves as an inflation hedge.
Mm-hmm. And Shane, just to be clear, in terms of eligibility for WAEPA and for your life insurance, who is it available to? Is it just current federal employees, or is it available to more as well?
It's a great question. So when we first started, we did have a limited audience in the 1970s. It was open to all civilian federal employees. And then last year, we made a big shift, and it's now available to anyone who used to work for the federal government and does not now. That's a huge sea change. Mm-hmm. So if somebody missed this opportunity while they were employed as a federal civilian civil servant, now they can take advantage of these group rates.
And what at WAEPA made you decide to take on that change or change eligibility for your program?
Well, expanding the pool is always good, meaning the number of insureds in the program. It spreads that risk even further. We're now as large as we've ever been. We're over 50,000 insureds, so it's already a significant pool. But the bigger we can make that, the better. But it honors their federal service. And you see a little bit of this with credit unions are nonprofits, but they have a different regulatory structure. But you saw not so many years ago, organizations like Navy Federal, now it's offered to veterans, and it wasn't always, but this is our version of that, is honoring a former federal employee's service.
And are there ways that WAEPA is also trying to make it easier to apply or to sign up for this insurance?
Yes, last year we completely revamped our underwriting process and therefore the application process. So for 100 years, the traditional way you bought life insurance was interfacing with an agent, and then you would have various tests that would take 3 to 4 weeks for approval. COVID ushered in a change. People want things faster, quicker, easier. And so we spent an awful lot of time making sure that we got this right. But now people can apply online and get it. Not everyone. If you're buying a large amount and you're older, you do have to go through the normal process. But the application process for most, well over half of people applying now, is online, real-time decision making. So you can get an answer in 15 minutes as opposed to 3 or 4 weeks.
That's a huge difference for sure.
It is.
And we've talked a lot about the context of life insurance and WAEPA within open season, and of course that's the time that we're in right now, but WAEPA is a little bit different, or life insurance is a little bit different from some of the other insurance options that federal employees look at during open season. So when can you apply for or enroll in life insurance?
For us, it's any time of the year. As we said before, our busy season is the final quarter, but there's a lot of business that happens all year long. And I think what really drives that is if there's a need for life insurance, if you do an evaluation, if it's in the middle of the spring or the summer, and you recognize you need more, you do not need to wait for WAEPA. You can apply whenever you want to change the amount you have.
Shane, thank you so much for being here. Just to wrap up, what is the message that you want to leave federal employees with this open season?
Do a full financial analysis and review of your entire budget and your plans. And in the course of doing that, consider life insurance. It really is an important part of anyone's, especially federal employees' financial future.
Great. Well, Shane, thank you so much for being here. It's great to have you.
Great. Thank you, Drew.
I'd like to thank today's guest. Shane Canfield is CEO of WAEPA. I'm your moderator, Drew Friedman, and you're watching Federal News Network. Now let me send you back to the studio for more on the Open Season Exchange.